Alrighty, ladles, jelly spoons, baby bells, and gemstones. Welcome back to the flight deck. Yeah. It's your midweek files, ladies and gents. It is Secrets from the Flight Deck, and we are live across the UK and the world, bringing you all things aviation. So if you've got any questions regarding what really happens on the flight deck, we have some great ones in part 1. Let's see what happens now for part 2. And let's go. Apologies for the little interlude, but unfortunately a little bit of a situation to take care of. But as you can see, we're back at the helm, back at the controls for another show. Here we go. So, any questions you have regarding time or life on the flight deck, live on any airliner, big or small, now is your time to ask them. Because of course, folks, we've flown the 747, the A320 and the A350, ladies and gents. So there's not a lot of stuff that we won't be able to talk about right here on this show. So anything you guys want to know about, jump in the questions, jump in the comments, and let's go. Cam, how you doing, buddy? I hope you're good. And fingers crossed, all will be better now. Ugh. That was fun, wasn't it, ladies and gents? So if you're watching right now, thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate all of you. And if you are interested in what really happens at 35,000 feet, at 10,000 feet, at 20,000 feet, right up there on the flight deck, let us know. Gaz, we are back with you, my friend. How you doing? Apologies for the very prompt disappearing act. Had a little issue to take care of, which we've now seemed to hopefully have got to the bottom of. Fingers crossed. So yeah, hopefully now we'll be good. Hopefully. Oh. So yeah, let us know your questions, folks. What would you guys like to know about when it comes to being a pilot or flight crew or anything to do with aviation from the perception of the flight deck? Let us know and we will go on that little journey with you. As you can see right now, we are live from the flight deck right here on LindenTV across the UK and the world. And there's enough of you watching to be able to ask your questions, my friends. Let's see what you guys come up with. Let's change it. There we go. That's a nice one. Gaz has got a question. Go for it, my friend. Go on. I quite like that view. It's quite nice. What's your question, Gaz? Let's see what you're going to go for. How'd I get a nice female pilot from? I mean, there's a lot of them about, to be fair. There's a lot more females flying than you might actually think. So you might be lucky just to find yourself with a female pilot one day. And yeah, try Tinder. That might be a good place to start. I would say go and hang around like airports, but you might get a name for yourself. So maybe don't try that one. But yeah, just be a frequent flyer or Tinder, and yeah, who knows, you may find yourself a female pilot, my friend. But they're a lot more common than you think. Honestly, there's a lot of female flight crew nowadays who are incredibly capable. Yeah, there are a lot of them. And I say they are actually incredibly capable. In fact, in many ways, they're probably better at they're probably better at landing than most males, in all fairness, because they're a lot more diligent, they're a lot more careful, and dare I say, they are a lot more capable of doing a much nicer, softer landing um, than men, to be fair. And to be fair, a lot of the time as well, nowadays, especially, if you're flying into a major airport like Heathrow, Charles de Gaulle, LAX, New York, etc., etc., if you have an incredibly soft landing, um, 98 times out of 100, your flight has probably been landed by a computer. Um, and Cameron likes a hard landing. In that case, mate, you better stick with Ryanair, because guaranteed they will throw you straight into the floor. And that's actually, weirdly, that is the reason why, or one of the main reasons why Ryanair can't land at Heathrow. Because they do slam the aircraft into the floor so hard, so they save on fuel, etc., etc., gets the right taxi point, etc., and all that sort of thing. They mainly cause a lot, well, they cause a lot more damage to the runway, and that is why they can't land at Heathrow, because they'd be replacing the runway a lot more frequently than what they do already. And as such, it would cost a lot of money. You're going to crash your plane if you keep facing the wrong way. Ever thought that plane's not actually flying? Just saying. Clayton, what a great question. What is your favourite aircraft in the history of aviation? Oh, are we talking from a passenger perspective or from a pilot perspective? Because pilot-wise, I can only comment on really two. I granted did fly the 747 back in the summer, but realistically, we can only really comment on two. Passenger-wise, however, I've travelled on many different sources of aircraft. So, all right. So, as a passenger, my favourite would have to be the Queen of the Skies, the 747. As a pilot, however, probably is the A350. It's so easy to fly that thing, it's unreal. And when you then go from something like the twin-engined 350 onto the 747, there's literally no comparison between the two of them. And yeah, it was a very, very, very different situation. Would you ever want to fly the Beluga, if that's how you spell it? That is how you spell it, yeah. Personally speaking, no, because it's based on the A330, which in itself is quite an unstable aircraft anyway. Then when you go and shove that massive top end on it as well, it makes it a lot more unstable. So, personally speaking, I wouldn't want to fly that, no. The A340 is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Obviously created in the 1990s, but wasn't very popular, because at the same time as the A340 came out, it was also around the same sort of time that the 787 was going into production. And is also the same sort of time that the 777 was really gaining momentum. So a lot of airlines really opted for the Boeing alternative, like twin engine jet with the same fuel, the same range capacity, the slightly higher passenger numbers. So they went for the Boeing alternative as opposed to the Airbus, which is a shame, because actually the A340 had a lot of potential. So I personally would think, if it had been me, the Airbus A340 would have been a lot more popular. That being said, though, it was also around the time that the Queen of the Skies was still dominating like aviation. So that was obviously the four-engine favourite that had been tried, tested, and everyone relied on. So would I prefer to play? Would I prefer to fly planes or helicopters? Purely because of what I've been trained on, it would have to be aircraft. But helicopters, in comparison, are actually a lot quicker. When you think about it, they can cover far bigger distances a lot quicker than an aircraft, and are a lot more agile than an actual airplane. Like and subscribe, people. Yeah, please do. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate you, mum. And of course, you will notice, folks, that a lot of our people nowadays have got a cute little picture next to their names. Why is that? Because they are members of this channel. If you also want to be a member of this channel for all things aviation and just general random gossip and chit chat, you can join this channel simply by buying a membership for as little as £2.99 a month. I like the A321 because I flew out of Canada. Best flight of my life. Great stability, great in-flight entertainment, and great space. Now, the XLR A321 is a lot better. I would agree. Um, yeah, the XLR 321 is amazing, and it's actually a very realistically, it is a large aircraft. Um, so it's only what, about 12 feet shorter, or so. It's not much shorter than the Dreamliner. Obviously, the Dreamliner is a wide body compared to a slim body or a narrow body, but they are pretty decent aircraft. Why are you in a plane? Because we're doing a flight special. That's the title of the show. Secrets from the flight deck tonight. So there we go. What do you think about the new supersonic flight? That is a great question. Um, I think it's overdue. But I'm also thinking, like, realistically, recommission Concorde. It's already made, tested, and apart from one incident, never actually had a fatal accident. And realistically, like, it's not hard to bring them out of retirement. If you can do it for this, the A380 after COVID, bring them out of retirement. We should be able to do the same thing for Concorde. True, it was really all about the sonic boom. It was, and it was a real thing as well. You know, flying at Mach 2 is absolutely crazy. So yeah, it was mad. Toes Lover says, I'm so tired, I'm going to sleep. Bye. Take care, my lovely. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. But no, you got to think, like, if you can leave the UK and arrive in JFK before you've left the UK due to the flight differences and stuff, that's kind of crazy. That is kind of mad. And of course, then when you're coming back the other way, like, you're literally landing in London 3 hours after you've left, whereas any other like flight, for example, the 777, the A380, well, the 787, A350, A330, they're going to take a lot longer to do that exact same flight. So I think it makes more sense. It was the Air Transat A321 from Gatwick to Montreal. Very nice too. You can only get grainy old footage of the sonic boom of Concorde. Yeah, obviously cameras weren't quite as great back in the early 2000s compared to what they are now. Realistically, I reckon I need to bring it back. Definitely. I'm obviously sick too. I will hopefully catch your next stream, but bust a few days now. So if I don't, I'll be back when I get home. No worries, my friend. You go and enjoy yourself, my buddy. Take it easy. What was your favourite flight and where to? So mine would be probably Gatwick to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. It's a great flight. Really great flight. Yeah, I enjoy that. Are you busy? Busy, not bust. Yeah, Gatwick to Punta Cana. That was probably the best flight. Or an internal flight, probably here in the UK, in all honesty, because I've done like Manchester to London hundreds of times. What's your thoughts on the new second pilot door? If it saves the flight, and if it means that the flight deck is safer for everyone concerned, passengers and crew, then frankly, it can only be a good thing. It can only be a good thing. It's a shame that we need to bring in those sort of those sort of measures and stuff to the flight deck and indeed to aircraft. But again, if it keeps everyone safe and prevents any incidents happening, then that can only be a good thing. Gaz says, have fun everyone, stay safe, and much love to you all. Take it easy, my G. Bye bye. I think the second door is a no-brainer, really. I mean, I would agree. It is more inconvenient, obviously. Like if there is an issue on the flight deck and you need to evacuate the aircraft quickly, it is going to hinder that. But then again, if you're on the floor, there's nothing really stopping you on certain aircraft from ejecting out through the window. Or in those sort of situations, a lot of the time they'll bring like the stairs to that window to ensure a quick evacuation from the flight deck. Um, but then again, like in any other normal circumstances, you know, you've got two doors to go through now rather than just one. Granted, it makes life harder for like anyone in the cabin to bring like food and drink and stuff through to the cockpit. But again, it'll take getting used to, but it will make things a lot safer. And let's face it, safety is paramount when you're flying a 500 million pound aircraft with X number of hundred people sat behind you. So yeah, it's uh, it's got to be done. Combat goes Gump. Have you ever took a flight to Canada? No, I haven't. I have flown to the States several times. Um, Obviously the Dominican and across the Europe, etc. But there we go. Did you see the video of the person complaining about the plane taking an arch line through the sky in the UK and said, why can't they go straight? Now, this is a weird thing. Ordinarily, we do actually go in a straight line. But due to the curvature of the Earth, which obviously goes around that way, on any maps and stuff, it is going to look like we're taking an arch loop around. But then again, we also play with things like the jet stream. We're taking into consideration headwinds, tailwinds, all this sort of malarkey. So you're always fighting against the weather. So realistically, like your flight will be predetermined. For example, we'll use the little system right down there in the middle console where we'll type in like our city of origin or place of origin, which let's say for example would be Heathrow. So you type in there EGLL. You then go to your destination, which let's just say for argument's sake it could be, I don't know, Manchester. So you type in EGCC and then away you go, right? And you just choose and select like the most direct flight route depending on your weather, etc., etc. But then, of course, if during that flight you do come across like unexpected weather, etc., etc., you can then just deviate on that flight path, and it will then divert you around there and get you safely to your destination. So, predominantly, like we do go in a straight line, but due to curvatures and weather conditions, weather patterns, flight lanes as well, because obviously you've got to bear in mind we have to follow specific routes between certain cities. So again, with curvature of the Earth, it looks like a loop. It's absolute crap. Like we do fly in straight lines. What about the USA? I have flown to the US a couple of times here. As a passenger, I've flown to Los Angeles, and as a pilot, we have been to both JFK and Miami. Oh, wouldn't you just love to be on the Hurricane Hunters plane? No, not really. I think that would terrify the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. Quite frankly, the idea of having a flight. I mean, I flew back from Turkey in November last year during what we classed here in the UK as Storm Bert, and it was a very windy takeoff, and quite a turbulent flight the entire way across Europe from Turkey back to the UK. And then when we landed in the UK, we were literally at about a 15-degree pitch angle at one point, like facing the wrong way. And I'm like, I don't like that. And the guy behind me goes, well, what's the issue? Like, you know, what's happening? And I'm like, it's just the way we're approaching the runway. That's not great. And he literally did skid down the runway about 30 foot before actually like leveling out and getting it nice and square on the runway. So that was kind of scary. But yeah, it was a very traumatic flight. I'm not gonna lie to you, and that's coming from a seasoned flyer as well. I've seen the POV cockpit footage of them entering and exiting into the eye is incredible footage. How madness. Oh, yeah, madness to instantly calm. I mean, flying through storms is never really something that any pilot or flight crew wants to come across. Um, but again, when you are going across different flight zones or different areas, etc., etc., the chances of you coming across that sort of weather is incredibly heightened. So you see it long before you reach it. You can see it growing, and you're like, we're gonna hit that. Like, you'll try and deviate around it and all this sort of stuff. You may try and get, permission from ATC to go around or up, fly up over it, etc. And if they don't give you clearance and your flight path is directly through it, you're like, I hope to God that our flight path is going to take us straight through. And you will actually watch um, the entirety of like the flight details through that storm on your radar screen. So you're sat there watching it going, we're going straight through that. We're going to go straight through that. And you're literally just sat there hoping and praying that the eye of the storm doesn't close up, which can sometimes happen on storms as well. Because when that happens, you know for a fact your turbulence is going to increase tenfold. That's Ryanair. No, it's not a Ryanair. Are you a pilot, mister? You know the answer to that question. Hypothetical, or maybe not, but the Bermuda Triangle, the thoughts. Now, I've apparently flown over the Bermuda Triangle 3 times. Completely unknowingly as well. Like, I've flown over it 3 times and have been unscathed on several occasions. Now, whether or not it's a real thing, there's evidence to suggest that it is, due to the fact of the number of aircraft actually found on the seabed in that area. But the realism is, like, for the amount of flights that cross over the Bermuda Triangle, especially nowadays, compared to the amount of those that actually go missing, I'd be inclined to say that it's like either weakening its ability, or flight radars and technology is so advanced nowadays it counteracts like the magnetic forces and everything else that goes with it. Now, as we know, magnetic forces and anything to do with like magnets or any form of interference with radio waves, etc., do cause havoc for aircraft. Hence why when you're on a plane, you have to have your plane on airplane mode. Not so much nowadays. You can more or less get away with having your phone like on normal, because the chances of you actually getting signal at like 12, 18, 28 foot, 28,000 feet, etc., is very unlikely. Now, someone did turn around and say to me, yes, but you're closer to the satellites up there, so in theory you get better signal. It's not quite how it works though. My dude, I didn't even know. Did you not? I swear I told you before that we have done. But there we go. Do you think it's? Do you think in the possible future? Hang on. Do you think it's possible in the future that we will have passenger drone flight, as in full passenger jet that is controlled like a drone, so no pilot, because we are almost there. Pilots are mostly needed. I mean, personally speaking, or was it another one? I do apologise. Personally speaking, the thought of there being like a remote controlled drone style aircraft, I don't think it could ever happen. Pure and simply, the transmitter would have to be so insanely strong to actually like make that possible. I do not think that's ever going to happen. And I think it'd be incredibly dangerous if it did, because if any of those systems fail at any point during flight, that's it. At least if you've got a captain or at least some form of flight crew there as a safeguard, just in case anything was to go wrong, or as you say, to do like landings, etc., or takeoff, then personally speaking, I think that would be a lot safer. The idea of there ever being like a completely like humanless aircraft flying through the sky is a worrying prospect. And I say the same thing about, you know, like battery operated or electric aircraft. Like the thought of that happening, yeah. I mean, electric cars may have the power and speed, etc., etc. Thought of putting that sort of technology into an aircraft? Nah. Like, we need to stay with aviation fuel for as long as possible. AD, I'm glad you can comment, mate. I'm so with you on that point. I still always feel safer that there's a physical pilot there. I mean, even if there is, I mean, this is why nowadays you'll very rarely find there's just one, right? Because let's face it, if you've only got one pilot on the flight deck, a plane cannot leave. Yeah, you need to have two of them because you need that. You need that full safe. So, for example, even on takeoff, you need two of you there. Obviously, you've got one who's like either got his hand on the yoke or the side stick, plus the thrust levers at the same time. And although he's watching, like his speedometer, his altitude, radar, and all this sort of thing, all at the same time, he still needs to hear the audible voice from his co-pilot or his first officer to turn around and be like, V1, rotate, to know, like, we are safely able to, like, leave the floor. Yeah. If you don't hear that audible V1 rotate and then positive rate, so at positive rate, you know you're at your 15-degree angle, you're making good progress through the sky. You've got perfect thrust and stuff going through the sky as well. So positive rate at that point, gear up, retract your flaps one notch, and then you carry on up, up, up. It's a very, it's, yeah, the thought of having nothing at all is terrifying. I'm not going to lie. Multiple families on planes. You do have multiple. That is very true. They have they have self-driving taxis in America, and no way would I get in one. I must admit, I wouldn't fancy. Well, there's actually now coming to the UK as well. I wouldn't fancy it either. Retract the flaps, baby. Absolutely. You know how it goes. And of course, your flaps aren't completely retracted to like their normal, everyday like configuration on the aircraft until you are at about 27 to 28,000 feet, and then that last little bit of the flight, your flaps are retracted. You're making decent speed. You're probably flying at between 550 to 600 miles an hour, or about 530 knots. At what 39,000 feet, and that last little bit, literally, quite happily is done via autopilot. It'll get you to your intended altitude, and away we go. AD, thank you very much for your super chat, man. I appreciate you. If you want to come get me, maybe in a little while, but no, mate, you're a legend. Cheers to that, mate. I appreciate you. Thank you very much indeed, you legend. And of course, the rest of you can also send super chats as well if you wish to do so, because that is just awesome. Super chats, super likes, and super stickers are available on this chat, and it also means you guys get a beautiful background like that, and you'll get a lot of thanks from myself and your moderator this evening. Love that, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Wasn't it for? It is 40. Yeah, we are £14 short at the moment, so that works out about $20, I think it is. Something stupid. Buy to a membership if you want to. Go for it. Oh, mate, thank you very much. You absolute legend. Look at you guys. Come on. There we go. See, sometimes that's all it takes. One person send a super chat and you guys just go ballistic for it. Combat, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much indeed. AD and the same goes for you, my man. Love that. Thank you very much. There we go. Any more questions then, folks, regarding the secret from the flight deck? It could be anything you possibly want to at all. We're happy to answer anything. Going to cause issues within the airline I used to fly with. Might have to be a little bit cautious about that one, but we'll try and answer anything we can do. But yeah, thank you very much, Steve, for that £5. That's incredible. Thank you very much indeed. We may now make our target ready for this month, which would be phenomenal. Cheers, Combat. Legend. But yeah, any other questions you've got regarding Either being a pilot, oh, Adi, you legend, go on, boy. Being a pilot, life in aviation, or anything else you guys are interested in, fire away, and let's see where we can go. Look at that. Loving that. Yeah. £6 away from our target. Happy days. And 1 day to get there. I know, man. Look at that. All he needs to do now is buy himself a membership and away we go. Happy days. Will you buy yourself your $4.99 business class membership of this channel? And that should make the target, G. Potentially, I think we're still £2 or £3 short, but we will find out. But thank you, man. I appreciate you. What a legend. Thank you very, very much. Happy days, you amazing people. What a lovely bunch of guys we have on this show. Honestly, thank you, guys. Any more questions, guys, about secrets from the flight deck? Because I'm happy to answer anything you want to know. Because I like talking about aviation, as you may notice. Hence, I do a lot of shows from Heathrow Airport. And yeah, always good to watch things coming and going. I've got to get a little one to bed later on, my dude. You take care, buddy. Thank you very much, Steve, for your super chat. I appreciate you. And we'll see you again, my man. Appreciate you no end. Thank you very much indeed, you legends. Cheers, guys. I think it works out that YT takes 30% of the earnings. That is very true, yeah. So we might just get there. Yeah. I sent you £5, Alan. I sent you 5, me plus 5, someone else, to me, that's 14, yeah. Obviously though, mate, I say YouTube do take 30%, so hopefully we've got enough to hit our target now. Because a lot of the times you look at it and go, oh yeah, we've made peas tonight, and then you then go onto like your studio and you'll be like, that doesn't correlate, but cute. There we go. The fact of the matter is, we are still making peas, which is good. Lovely stuff. And of course, Ben is going to join us on Friday with a big one, which could be cool. So happy to see how that one goes. But folks, we are here for Secret of the Flight Deck. Are there any other questions you guys want to talk about, or anything you want to know about? Anything at all? Because if so, we're happy to answer any questions you have. Could be about flights I've done, flights I've been on, flights that we've seen at Heathrow, Manchester, Gatwick. Fire away, throw your questions. And of course, if you want to send super chats or super likes, super stickers, or just buy yourself a membership, they cost just £2.99 a month. Always happy to go. David, hello to you. You're laughing, I'm not too sure why. I remember the convo last night about it, so I said I would. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much indeed. A legend. So 10%, that's £1.60. 2%. No. Oh, I don't know. No, 10% in it, £1.60. 20 would be like £3.20. 30 would be, I think we've hit our target, I'm not sure. Hopefully that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty decent. Cheers guys though, appreciate you. Let's see what other questions we get. That airplane's making a weird noise, Kens. So yes, the engines, they're spoiling up, ready for landing. However, if we had a diesel engine, crikey, that'd be scary. If we're still short later, we will sort it. Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much indeed, my G. Legend. Right. Any more questions then about the secrets from the flight deck? Obviously, you don't start an engine on an airplane with a key. It is all done through your control panel above your head, which is literally shown to you right up here. So you have to go bam, 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 and then down the bottom, down this little bit down here. So this section of the display panel down there, you go for the engine start on engines 1 and 2, and away you go. Basically, that will start the engines. You then turn on the APU, which is the auxiliary power unit, which helps you to basically disconnect from the ground power unit, which is there at all major airports, just to ensure that when passengers are loading on, they have got lighting, aircon, etc, etc, especially in nice warm areas. Or of course, if you are in this country during the summer, it may not feel excessively warm, but you get yourself in essentially a tin can, it's going to conduct heat. So the APU is very, very important. Yeah, 80, of course we've got altitude hold on your plank. So obviously from that point of view, the APU is very important, because that normally disconnects at the point of the engine starting on pushback. And at that point is normally on the A320 and the A319, when you get like that barking noise. So when you hear the engine spoil up and you get that roar, 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 roar noise, that's the APU kicking out, the engine's kicking in, therefore taking over the thingy, and away you go. Can be quite unnerving to certain people. It's only normally on an Airbus or a small Airbus situation. That's mainly because the design of the Pratt & Whitney engines, when you are going from the APU over to your engine power, doesn't happen on the Rolls-Royce Trent engines on the A380 or the A350 Rolls-Royce engines. Doesn't happen on the GE engines for Boeing either. It's mainly the Pratt & Whitney engines, but it's completely safe, it's completely fine, and anyone that gets panicky by it probably needs a slap. Yeah, I mean, for the thousands of A320s that fly across the world on a daily basis, in fact, the number of flights that are crossing like the Atlantic or crossing the world on a daily basis, compared to the amount of flights that actually go wrong, like the ones that go wrong are in such a small minority. Like, you have more car accidents a day than you have plane accidents or plane crashes. Like, and that is the weirdest thing. The main reason you hear about your plane accidents or failures and stuff going wrong with aircraft is 9 times out of 10 because they've got like a large number of people on board at the same time. Whereas in a car, obviously, like, or on the road, when you have a fatality, it's not going to be a large number of people all at once. It may be like 1 or 2 people. Granted, that's still 1 or 2 people too many, but it's not the same compared to an aircraft when you've got like potentially 300 people, 400, 600 people all going to perish at the same time. So for example, if an A380 was to crash, you've got to think, for most configurations of the A380, you've got like 550 people on board. They can carry 880 if the entire aircraft is all economy seating, but realistically you've got about 550 people on board, which is a large number of people to lose in one go if that aircraft was to go wrong. And that's why you hear about it, because you've got so many people in a compact area. Obviously the loss of life is, and the tragedy is that much higher, but you do get a lot more road accidents compared to air accidents. But yes, mate, we have got the altitude hold on, so don't worry, we are all good. We are flying safely. We're flying. Jason goes, I eat my hair. might start calling you Willow Smith and be like, I whip my hair back and forth, I whip my hair back and forth. You know? Not that we like to name drop celebrities on this channel, but it seems to happen far too regularly. But yeah, are you a Willow Smith whipper? Am I flying? What, right now? I hope not, because if I was, I'd love to know how we are getting signal to do a live stream for you people. But no, that is a green screen, folks. If we take that away, you will see. Oh dear! It's all changed. There we go. We'll change it for you. But no, we are not flying right now. If we were, that's a gorgeous sunset. Like, that's absolutely beautiful. But Jason, welcome to the channel. If you want to be an absolute legend, if you want to send a super chat, a super like, or join the channel, that would be phenomenal. Is that not a beautiful scene? I mean, look, I'll move my walloping grey head out of the way. That being a scene from the flight deck is just phenomenal. And the sort of scenes that we love to see, obviously from the flight deck you do get to see a lot of gorgeous scenery, and we get to see a lot more than maybe a lot of people like sat behind you. And of course you forget that they can't see what you can see, because they've got a walloping great door, and obviously the wall that has the back of the cockpit could be nice and secure, etc. So they don't get to see all the stuff we see. And you've got to think that the flight deck, a lot of people go, oh, it doesn't take up very much space at all. Yes, it does. If you've got like the crew quarters in the flight deck too, we've got like a little door that sits pretty much behind where the captain sits. So you've got this captain's control yoke right there in front of you. Right behind you, you've got a door. Open that. That's where your crew go into. There's like 2 little bunks in there. The captain and the first officer will just be in there, chillaxing, relaxing, or whatever, and it's their time to take over. If you're on a flight long enough, obviously, to warrant like a double crew. I mean, 98 times out of 100, most long haul flights will have like a dual crew. Even flights, for example, that are going from say Gatwick to America, or London to America, most of the time they'll have a double crew, especially if they're going to like Los Angeles. So the crew that takes off from Heathrow ordinarily won't be the same crew that lands you. So if you ever notice like the change in the voices between the captain and like the captain on takeoff compared to the captain on landing, that's the reason why. We've had a crew change halfway through the flight. All completely safe, autopilot's on. The changeover literally takes like 30 seconds, and if there's any issues along the way, so there's no need to do a handover and this sort of stuff, because 98 times out of 100 you're going to know all about it. Is this going to be a new series, Ken? The midweek show will be, yes. That's why it's called the Midweek Files. Will it always be on aviation stuff? Possibly. Or we could have different stuff all the way through. It's basically going to become like a new version of The Grind, to be fair, because that was ultra popular, so that's all good. Chaga, hello, all the way from, is that the Brazil? That is a Brazil flag, isn't it? Almost certain that is. How you doing? Great to have you along. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to the channel, to Jason and Chaga. If you do want to be amazing and join us, that'd be incredible. All you got to do is smash that like button, hit subscribe, come and join us right here at LindenTV. Brazilian in the house. Careful how you say that, mate. That could be taken the wrong way. But yeah, thankfully no one here's from Essex. So yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on. But no, welcome to both of you guys. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate you. If you've got any questions about what it's like to be a pilot or flight crew, feel free to chuck them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer your questions for you. Just because, why not? You know? Yeah. So I'll wait to see what your questions are going to be thrown up. Kind of interesting, as soon as you're at a certain location and people notification on Snapchat, they all start panicking and going, "Are you alright?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." Like, I wasn't an hour ago, but I'm cool now. Hence why the part 1 finished so quickly. Cameron's got a question. Is it aviation related or is it something else? Let's find out. Go on, mate. Go for it. Hello. Random person walking down the street. There she was, just walking down the street. Oh, it's something else. Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay. What is your question? Nice for you to keep it topical. She looked good. How? Shuffling her, clicking her fingers and shuffling her feet. How does that look good? Ladies and gentlemen, if you are brand new to the channel, please do smash the like button, hit subscribe, come and join us right here at LindenTV. We love aviation and aviation-based stuff. If you guys do too, this is the place to be. What do you call a fake noodle? I hate you. I hate you. An impasta. Very nice. Very nice. Well done. Oh, God. Seeing the Welsh humour coming through there, can't you? Massively. Jesus. Fair enough. Yeah. An impasta. Lovely. So, ladies and gents, well, this is your show, The Secrets from the Flight Deck. Any questions you have, throw them my direction. What do you call him? What do you call a young man that is in over his head? You just dropped yourself in the boo-boo. Nicely done, mate. Well done. Don't forget, folks, you can send super likes, super chats, and super stickers right here through to the show. We are live across the UK and the world right now. Please feel free to get involved in the chat, and we will have all of your aviation questions answered right here on LindenTV. Always good to see what sort of stuff you want to send. Drop myself in it. How come? You just turn around and said you're in over your head, mate. So unless you're sinking or you're drowning, which I hope you're not doing either, then reading between the lines is pretty easy. Pretty easy. But yeah. So, ladles, jelly spoons, baby bells, and gemstones. If you have got any questions you'd like to ask a real life former pilot, please feel free to jump in the chat right now. Ask your questions away. I will happily answer any of them because that's obviously what we're here for. And yeah, let's see where we go. Even if it's like something, even if you've watched like any of the live streams at London Heathrow, for example, when flights are coming into land, and you've very verbally heard me shouting and going, "You've not got your landing lights on, it's part of your checklist." How do I know that? Because, well, it's quite simple. And you know, I'll tell you anyway. You know, you may not have asked a question, but I'll tell you anyway. It's very simple to notice, especially at night time. I'm in over my head because I know nothing about planes. Nice save. Nice save. But yeah, literally, like, especially at night time, if you find an aircraft joined the stack or joined on short final coming into like Heathrow, for example, especially on 27 right, because you can see so far away across London, you can see them obviously joining the stack and getting ready for their position in that stack to land. Now, ordinarily on a short final, as they're making that turn round, that should be the point they're whacking on their landing lights, which is the button just up there, turning on the landing lights, lowering the landing gear, and therefore ATC should see them very clearly and very visibly coming in. So they won't actually see them on radar, they can see them out the window, like, yep, I see you, I've got a visual contact with you, I know you're coming, etc, etc. All they can see is the blinks from the strobe lights on the side of the wings. They're going to be questioning why that landing gear's not down, and they'll probably start yelling at that aircraft and be like, "Yo, like, you know, Speedbird 9742, like, landing gear or whatever, or like checklist. They'll be one of those two things. And then if the landing gear is deployed and the lights still don't illuminate, that would signify there's an issue with the landing gear. As such, they may then turn around and go, look, you're telling me your landing gear is deployed. They should get a little light on the dashboard, on the flight deck anyway, turn around and saying, look, you know, there's an issue with like landing gear 3, for example, which ordinarily would be like your rear right landing gear, so it's not deployed completely or locked into place properly. And as a result, that should be enough for them to go, right, retract the flaps, put a bit of thrust in, retract your landing gear, do a go around, come round, and hopefully try again. If that means they then do a longer final, just so that they can actually retract the landing gear a lot further away, or drop the landing gear further away, and if there's still an issue, that then gives a member of the team to then go to the back of the aircraft, go for our little hatch, which lets us into the maintenance area, and let the landing gear go down manually, which is a very dangerous job to do, but does sometimes happen. That then obviously then alleviates that issue. Captain will then radio through and be like, yo, we've got that all sorted out, it's all good. Salsa says, yeah boy, you know it, you know the catchphrases of this channel. And in case then they'll come in and make a very safe landing at Heathrow, for example. But yeah, what are your aviation questions? This is life of a pilot on the flight deck. Your secrets are going to be revealed right now. Ask your questions, fire away. Don't forget to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and let's go. You got about 10 minutes before this show ends, so fire away with your questions. If you've always been fairly obsessed with aviation, yeah, actually, mainly because my dad worked for BA for about 25-30 years. Before that he worked for Pratt & Whitney, and before that he worked for Pan Am. So he's always been like, I think it was with the Air Force first, then went to Pan Am, then Pratt & Whitney, and then finally BA. So obviously I grew up around aviation my entire life. You know, I was always being taken to like air shows and all this sort of thing. I was obviously taught how combustion engines and aircraft engines and jet engines and stuff all worked from a young age. And yeah, literally from like being the age of 7 to like knee-high to a grasshopper, right through the present day, aviation has just been my life, literally. You've done any training as a pilot? Yes. I was a trainee first officer with British Airways up until November last year, so nearly a year ago now. I got certified with the A320 back in the July of last year. Then went straight forward for the A350, and then we fell ill. So unfortunately, as a result of that, my training had to come to an end. What was the first ever plane called? Do you know what? I don't actually know the answer to that question. I know it's designed by the Wright brothers and it's currently got a replica of it at Farnborough, at Farnborough's Aviation Museum. And myself and your other co-presenter have seen it, but for the life of me, I could not tell you what it's called. But it was made by the Wright brothers and flew like just about 130 meters or something stupid on that very first flight. Got about 10 foot off the floor, but I don't know what it's called. So if you do know, please feel free to drop it into the comments. Educate all of us tonight, and we'll be happy to go from there. That's as far as I know. I didn't even know what the name is. I've got no idea, honestly. I'd be lying if I said I did. So I have seen it. I have seen the replica, but I don't know what it was called. Alex, welcome back to the channel, my friend. You can ask any of your aviation questions you may have. Anything you like. We're here on the flight deck. Happy to answer any questions. So let's go. What's the name? When's the next live plane watching session? No, actually, Cam, it actually did have an engine. So it actually did have an actual working engine and was bloody loud. I think it actually came from like, yeah, it was a completely handmade engine, but it did have an engine and a propeller. So it was not done by wind. But the next live plane watching session will be Monday the 2nd, I think. Monday the 3rd. Monday the 3rd of November will be the next time we're live from Heathrow. But yeah, no, the Wright brothers plane did actually have an engine. Oh, I will write then. But yes, so we'll be back for Heathrow on the 3rd, which will be amazing. Obviously, I shouldn't start a comedy act. No, probably not with a joke like that one, mate. But there we go. But ladies and gents, it is currently half midnight on Thursday. Yeah. Thursday the 30th of October, if I remember rightly. Let's just double check that one. It is. Yes, look at that. One more day to Halloween. Which therefore means it's not long till we'll be live from the Isle of Thanet, from the most haunted place in Kent. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? You always stay up late. Quite often, yes, I do. That is very true. Happy spooky season, people. Absolutely. Happy Halloween Eve, you wonderful, lovely people. Not in a sleeping mode. I do sleep, just struggle to get to sleep, to be fair, so it makes a lot more sense to do a live stream at night time on the days that you guys are expecting them, and it makes life a lot easier for everyone involved. But we've got 3 minutes to go to get some more super chats, some more super likes, and some more questions from you lovely people, and of course more time for you guys to like and subscribe. The first successful powered airplane was called the Wright Flyer. Alex, thank you very much indeed, you legend. Absolute phenomenal person you are, aren't you? Thank you very much indeed, man. Any airlines I wouldn't fly with? Ooh. This could be controversial. But yes, there's several, to be fair, that I won't fly with. Just on principle more than anything else, to be fair. The first one being Ryanair. Second one being Spirit. And there's another one as well. But yeah, there are a couple. It was obviously the wrong flyer though, you stupid twat. Fuck you know. Yeah, okay, mate. Oh, but yeah, no, they're the two off the top of my head that I wouldn't fly with. Just because, mainly reputation. Mixture of both, realistically. I mean, Ryanair have got an unbroken safety record, to be fair. They've never had, like, I don't think they've had a fatal accident, to be fair. I don't think they have. But yeah, it's just me. I'm a snob, to be fair. I mean, I've flown Wizz Air, I've flown Jet2, flown TUI, Thomas Cook, Britannia, Thai Airways, flown the Star Alliance. I've flown obviously British Airways countless times, Qantas, Eva Air. They're phenomenal. They're absolutely amazing. In fact, Thai Airways and Eva Air are both absolutely incredible. If you ever get a chance to fly with them, take the opportunity because they're incredible. Who else to be flying with? I think that's it, to be fair. Yeah. Remember Sterling? Very vaguely, yes. And obviously the reason why they didn't last very long. I'll be happy to fly Logan Air. They're quite cool. I'd happily go with KLM, the taxi company. But yeah, American Airlines, maybe. United, probably not, to be honest, because their fleet is getting incredibly old, incredibly dated, and bearing in mind they've got a maintenance shed right next to British Airways' maintenance shed in Heathrow, They don't tend to use them very much. I put more facts in the chat I didn't know about. Well, I can't see them. Flying Finnair first time soon. They should be okay. Finnair are actually very good, and they are also a member of the One World Alliance, so you should be perfect with them. Sorry, I'm in a good mood. Mate, you crack on, dude. But no, Finnair is part of the One World Alliance, along with Cathay Pacific, Japan Airlines, Alaska, American Airlines, Qantas. They're part of the One World. Iberia, British Airways, Malaysian, scarily, they're part of the One World Alliance. The Royal Jordanian, part of them as well. I think Air Berlin was, I'm not sure if they still are. Air Alaska, another one. So yeah, there's like 14 members all in total of the One World Alliance, and Finnair is one of them. So there we go. You'll be very safe with them, very safe with them. And of course, you might be thinking, well, what's the One World Alliance? Like, what's this about? So it was originally started by British Airways, Cathay Pacific, and Qantas. Obviously, British Airways back then was being called British European Airlines. And literally, they set up the alliance so that they could route share and obviously gain access to other countries. That's how the alliance first came about. And in doing so, it has opened up the possibility of like flight sharing. It's why you'll find quite often at Terminal 5, for example, you have a monumental amount of like British Airways aircraft, and then occasionally you might see like the tail fin of Iberia, the Cathay Pacific could be around. Etihad will quite often like dock over at Terminal 5 Building C, just because obviously it's big enough for the A380. So yeah, it's very, very, very lucrative to be part of the alliance. Yeah, the Star Alliance is very similar as well. AD says the first passenger plane was the DE Havilland DH-106 Comet, and the first plane crash was on September the 17th, 1908. But that's nice, isn't it? Yeah, so the Star Alliance, you've got, like you say, SAS, KLM, Thai Airways, part of the Star Alliance. Who else you got? I think Swiss Air might be on there, possibly. I'm not entirely, don't quite me on that one though. But yeah, obviously there's 5 in total, hence why they got the 5-point star. But yeah, so being part of an alliance as an airline is incredibly good. Now Sid, don't blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative. Okay, cool. Emirates, I don't believe, are part of an alliance. No. I remember reading up on that not so long ago, actually. They decided to stay away from that and wanted to remain completely independent. And let's face it, with the incredibly large amount of A380s they have, and also, I'm going to hop off now, guys. Speak to you soon. Alright, man, take it easy. Yeah, a massive amount of A380s they have, plus the amount of wide bodies with the 777, the A350 that they've obviously purchased as well. They don't really need to worry about being part of an alliance. So they are doing incredibly well by themselves. So that's always good. But you also have airlines like British Airways, which obviously has the Royal Seal of Approval. So being the national flyer of the country, therefore means like that's why during COVID and stuff, they were able to furlough a lot of people because they had government backing, etc., and they've got a lot of funding from governments and other places. So the chances of BA ever going under is quite slim. They have a lot of subsidies coming from a lot of places, put it that way, and obviously being part of the alliance helps as well because everyone pays into the alliance. They then get paid subsidies out every month, etc., which therefore keeps a lot of people a lot safer for a lot longer, which is also good. But folks, It is 20 to 12 on Thursday, the 30th of October 2025. We are going to be live again on Friday. Yep, happy Halloween. From a very haunted place in Kent. From myself, though, to all of you guys, have an amazing night. Have an incredible night. Please do have a very safe night as well, or safe day, evening, depending on what time of day it is in your countries. This is all from us right here now for part 2 of this show. We will come back again with more of this next Wednesday, as it has been quite a busy show. But from me to all of you, this has been LindenTV. Miss it, miss out. Take care, Alex.